we were off and running.
Trees swaying in the summer breeze, showing off their silver leaves as we walked by. Soft kisses on a summer's day, laughing all our cares away, just you and I. Sweet, sleepy warmth of summer nights, gazing at the distant lights in the starry sky. They say that all good things must end someday.
They're woodchucks there. Oh, Jesus. And I said, it's too far. Why are we going way over there? When there's a school right here. That's when Mom and I went over there and we saw how bad it was. It looked like it was way back. It wasn't us. It's terrible to say, but they needed help. They were hurting, and it wasn't for my son. Mom especially was not having that. And that was, I think, almost 45-minute bus ride away when he could have gone right into North Creek School, which was 5 minutes away. So that's when we both looked into things and found out that they would allow us to do that. And they said, yeah, let's try to work that out with the school for Steve. We were able to.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Stephen really enjoyed it. He was able to do everything a boy wanted to do. They had their own ski mountain. It wasn't Gore, it was Little Gore, they called it. It was the town mountain. They did it for school almost. He went over, he skied every day. We could drop him off, pick him up, snowmobiled, he rode horses. He just about did everything out in nature too. I mean, it was great. We had bands every Friday night and Saturday night, and we would hire them out of a couple of colleges up there. One of the drummers, nice young man, he was giving Stephen drum lessons during the day, and so he learned to play the drums a little bit, listen to the band. It was just a lot of fun. I remember you sitting in. You sat in. That had to be a great thing for you to be sitting in with a real band playing Wooly Bully. Tom Hack and his wife weren't there. Tom had left, said he was going to work at Nash Engineering, and he would send up money to help out up there and try to keep the place going. And that's when I decided to do the catering, if we can get dinners and stuff like that. The Chamber of Commerce came and said, we would like to have our dinner here. What could you offer? So I put a menu together, but I also, while talking, a young boy named Glenn, who was a friend of Stephen's, said, my brother is a chef down in Glens Falls, and his name was Roy, very nice guy. He said, what we could do is, we'll give him a menu, we'll give him a couple of choices. Get a grill. And I said, well, we have no grill. Maybe I could have one made, because the fellow who was a friend of ours up out on the main road was a welder. We picked out our old Garland stove, commercial stove that was in the kitchen. We'll put the grill right on top of the stove. I called Floyd, who was the fella on the main road, and I told him, I said, we need a grill. Could you weld a grill for us? So he said, well, I've got the steel, but I don't have any grates or anything. So I took some refrigerator shelving out of our big refrigerators, and he made that work as the grill to rest the meat on, but he welded steel up 4x4 by about 6 inches high with a bottom in it, and then put like shelves in it, and he laid grates on top. And so we could put the coal in the bottom, start it up, the charcoal, and then cook the steaks.
Oh, I Smokey Joe's Cafe. Oh, I Smokey Joe's Cafe.
It fit perfectly on the stove. The day of the event, we had forgotten that we had no fans. We're going to have fire there, so what we would do is put some fans in the back of the windows that were right behind the stove. So we opened the windows, put the fans in, plugged them in, and started the fire.
A chill was running down my spine at Smokey Joe's Cafe. Oh, I could...
People had to be at least 100 people. And they were all out having drinks. We were doing very well. That was the cocktail hour. But then we started cooking. Put the steaks on, and all of a sudden we started getting flames and smoke.
Yes, I know I'll never eat again at Smokey Joe's Cafe.
We were getting very, very nervous at the time because the flames were coming up off the grill by about 2-3 feet because there was so many steaks on there. They were New York strip steaks. They always have a little bit of fat on it. That caught fire.
Ooh, I risked my life when that Smokey Joe's.
That's what created such big flames. Terrible, terrible smoke. And then all of a sudden we started hearing coughing from the main dining room. And I went out there and it was nothing but smoke. It was clear the bottom 2 feet, and you had to get on your hands and knees and look out, and the people were coughing. So we turned the fans on higher. That flamed the fire, and it went higher and scorching the beams because it was unfinished. The flooring and everything were just open dry wood beams on the walls and everything. It just turned out to be a disaster. Everybody had to exit, go out on the porch. We had to try to put the fire out. When we put water on it, the smoke doubled. We did finish. We were able to fix the meals and get the people fed and really apologize. We made a very large adjustment on payment. So our catering thing for having special events ended right then and there.
Oh, I at Smokey Joe's Cafe.
The weather was pretty good. It was like fall. This fella came in with a young lady, so he sat down and he asked if we would fix him dinner. So I cooked him a steak and a baked potato, and then they asked if they could stay overnight. So they stayed overnight and they left. I gave them breakfast the next morning and they left and they paid me. And they kind of made it a habit of a once-a-week type thing. Nice people, and he was the coroner of Warren County. He kind of knew that we were kind of struggling, and he said, "Would you like some assistance?" He says, "You know, this Gore Mountain's going to really go big." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, they wouldn't want to run this place," but he said, "I'm a personal friend of Bobby Kennedy's." And he said, "I can get government to come in and build this place." And I said, "Well, you have to tell me more about it." you know, and because I'm not a quitter, was trying to run it, trying to make a go of it with Mom. So I acted a little interested, and I said, well, come up with a plan. Well, he did more than that. He called me and he said, we're coming up, and he had a whole set of plans on what they wanted to do with the whole area. And they were talking a big building and stuff like that. And he said, but you're going to have to give up 51% of it. So I said, I got to think about that. Now, I should have taken it, but I was too headstrong. And I said, no deal. We go 50-50 or no deal at all. And that's it. So they wouldn't do it. And that project fell apart. And that was the end of the government money and putting money into Snow Pony Lodge. I think it was just the inexperience of us. We should have been a little bit smarter, went a little slower. I was still very young, and I still thought I could lick the world. I mean, this is what I think by moving too fast. We went up, we found this place, bought the place. It was almost too quick. Tom Hack's dad, he was something to do with the fabrics on Wall Street. Tom said his dad would back us with whatever we wanted to do. He wanted his son to be successful. The end result was his father didn't want anything to do with that. We managed to get through that summer, and then we decided that we should sell the place. We put an ad in the Times. A couple from Long Island come up, very interested, and they said, well, bring a contract to Long Island and we'll sit down with the attorneys. We drove into Long Island, we talked to the people there, and they made a decent offer. We were going to accept it. They wanted to close before September if they could. That would have saved a whole lot of financial difficulties. It was a done deal. For our birthdays, we went to Uncle Tom's house. I remember it. We went there to have lobster and steak, and we're going to celebrate that we sold it and we'd be back home. So when we got to Uncle Tom's, we were eating, and phone rang. It was for me, and it was the sheriff from North Creek. He said, Snow Pony burnt down. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said it burnt to the ground, they couldn't save it. I said, how did that happen? And the only insurance we had was on a government, like an SBA loan that we had taken out to buy furniture and stuff. So we had very little insurance. That was it. We lost everything. Come to find out, the reason it burned, the cause of the fire, was we stored beer bottles out behind the bar area, and in the summer it gets very hot in the mountains. One of the bottles acted like a magnifying glass and started fire, and the place was just, it was all dry wood, and just burned fast, and down it went. That was it. No sale, no nothing after that. That was the end, and we had to come home. The only time my father was ever interested in seeing what was going on is when I said I have to take a ride to North Creek and see what's going on and close this thing up and talk to them in the town, and I want to see what happened. He said, well, I'll come with you. That was the only time. And I remember that day when we walked up the stairs, I saw that little scooter right down by the foundation of the fireplace. I remember that, right? It's clear as a bell today. That's still there. There was nothing there for us to take home, so I just jumped in the car and came back home. When we got back from North Creek, staying at Grandma Virginia's, I met a few people there, and I had met this man named Bud Toolin, who owned a house on Elliott Street. It had just been vacated by a tenant, and he rented it to us. Then I went to work for Home Oil, and everything started to really come together very well, making a decent living. We were able to buy the house. We paid $27,000 for that house. Then Carla came. She missed the adventures of North Creek. I don't think she missed that much, but I think after she came along, we had one complete family. It was really a lot of fun. She was fun. She was game for anything. Marvin Beach, after North Creek, when we went to Marvin Beach, the whole family was there. It was very nice. It was Mom's neighborhood as a child. It was a beautiful place to live. The beach, the picnics once a year, parades. Carla had her first few years there. Marvin Beach always will be part of my mind all the time because I really enjoyed it there. I enjoyed the people there, and I enjoyed you guys growing up there. Actually worked for Home Oil for a whole year. Then I went on my own, and that was from Serviceman's Oil Company. And the fellow from Westport wanted to sell his end of it, so I bought that. We did pretty good. It was a tough struggle, but did it all on that business. And I'm still in it, still doing the same thing. And I really love it, and I don't really want to leave. And especially with Mom gone now, I need something to do, and that's why I'm hanging in there.
When I was young, it was more important. Pain more painful, laughter much louder, yeah. When I was young,
We're going to talk about that. I want to get the picture first.
was so much stronger than I believed in fellow men.
That was at Duffy Field. That was junior high school. I was a catcher. And we were playing center school, and he was out. This is Danny Letizia, Joe Haas. Willie Stevens is the man sliding, and that's me. Recently, Danny said to me, was he safe or out, Mike? And I said, out. And he said, nah, he was safe. I said, no, he was out.
Were so much colder then. My father was a soldier then, and times were very hard when I was young. When I was young, I smoked my first cigarette at 10, and for girls I had a bad yen, and I had quite a ball when I was young. When I was young, it was more important. Pain more painful, and laughter much louder, yeah. When I was young. She was brown and I was pretty green, and I learned quite a lot when I was young. When I was young.
I forgot all about that.
My faith was so much stronger then. I believed in fellow men, and I was so much older then. When I was young, when I was young.
We could cut it there. I had enough for today.